live. Welcome. Ooh, hey, look at all these friends coming on. Welcome to Grounded with John Tester and Marie Giorgio. It is Friday, May 1st. And a couple of things. It is our 100th episode of Grounded, which is
Mazel tov.
crazy.
Congratulations.
And we have Katie Phang, our friend, and the hilarious Katie Phang. Like, Katie, I really want you to go into stand-up comedy. I really do.
I want her to go into politics.
I could be a funny politician.
By the way,
Funny, snarky politician.
it's true. I mean, you could use the humor in politics. You'd win on a landslide.
Oh, I appreciate it.
I agree.
Never say never.
So, a little bit of housekeeping. First of all, our episode with Karen Bass earlier this week did not publish on audio podcast for like 2 days. So sorry, guys. I had to like go in and change the settings. So sorry about that. We have Katie here today, not only because she is fabulous and hilarious and our friend, but also because she is suing the United States Department of Justice over their botched handling of releasing the Epstein files. So we're going to talk all about that, Katie. But I do have some other huge like WTF moments of the week that maybe we could talk about.
Sure.
First,
It's a roundup.
Senator, you're kind of quiet. Have you not had your booze coffee yet?
No, I'm all wired. I'm just it's hard to get a word in edgewise. I mean, you know what I mean? So far, you guys are doing good. I'll let you know if you screw up. But keep going. I want to know your WTF moment. By the way, just for the record, I'm going to try to quit saying the F word as much as I have.
Why?
Well, because
What?
my neighbor said it isn't good. And besides that, I had Booker at my fellowship class, and Booker said, we got to quit saying that. And I said, it's tough not to say it.
Oh, wait. Are you doing this because of that New York Times article
No,
that came out?
no, I'm not. No, I mean, look, I was the guy Politico had a story that said the senator who says fuck all the time. And so, I mean, it's not like
You just said it.
well,
I
I
say
had
it
to
all. I say it all the time, and
my
I'm
thing.
sorry. I don't
Yeah,
apologize
right.
for it. Sorry.
So anyway, go ahead. But anyway, go ahead.
A bad move. I think, yes, there are some critics of you saying the F word, but I think most people generally like get fired up. Like they feel it.
Well, I'll say something else. I'll say like phooey or something.
Oh,
You know.
come on.
Keep going. We're
You say
okay. We're
fudge.
all right. I
Fudge.
want to talk
Fudge
about.
that.
I want to talk about the WTF moments from the week.
All right. Well, let's just start here.
Pizza Giorgio.
Pizza, yeah. So today is supposed to be the deadline, the 60-day mark of this war in Iran. The 60-day mark means, according to this law passed after Vietnam, that, the president needs to either get authorization from Congress to continue, get an extension of basically 30 days, or say, hey, we're done here. We're not going to keep continuing this. There's some, speculation from some that, oh, well, we're in a ceasefire, so that messes up the 60-day timeline. Meanwhile,
That's Hegseth. That's the sum that said that.
What I was like, on what authority is that? What? I mean,
yeah,
is he?
Normal people don't look for loopholes. Okay, this outfit looks for loopholes every time they get a
Well,
chance.
it's his bloodlust, John. That's why he's like, he's hot to trot over war. So that's the reason why he wants an extension of it.
yeah, the Department of War. Yeah, right. So, meanwhile,
Which one's hot to trot? Is it Trump or is it Hegseth or is it Miller? Which one's hot? Or are they have a little cabal? They meet in the Situation Room and say, hey, let's just keep this going because we love the price of gas being $5-6 a gallon, and we love to see small businesses and family farm agriculture be put out in the cold. Who's making these decisions? Because Congress sure as shit isn't. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
The axis of evil, they don't have to go to the Situation Room. They can just hang out in the lobby of Mar-a-Lago with no security precautions and talk about, I don't think Miller's a part of this. I don't give that guy a pass for shit, but I don't really think Stephen Miller, he's too busy trying to try to make our country into a white nationalist, Christian nationalist country. So I don't really think that's his thing. I really do think this is a Hegseth. He's got the pole position on this. And I think Trump is too brain addled to really kind of run interference. And he just kind of likes and enjoys this whole like chest thumping, testosterone. Well, I don't know if it's testosterone.
Well, he had a lot of testosterone when the Vietnam War was going on, I'll tell you that.
Oh,
I mean, he
yeah.
was one of the first
Bone
to sign up,
spurs.
remember, right? He signed up
Right.
and was willing to serve and, very willing to put it on the line as he was going to his prep school with bone spurs in his feet, remember?
Bone spurs, baby.
Well,
Right.
I look at Pete Hegseth and his, like, weird chest thumping, weird pull-ups, and I just see so much unresolved childhood trauma. Like, I've been through enough therapy to be like, you have some dad issues. I think he has some dad issues, this Department of War thing.
I don't think so.
Uh,
I disagree. I just think he's totally out of touch with reality. I think he's got some issues of not understanding that when people die, it's a big deal. He doesn't have an understanding that, when you're spending, I don't know, 400 million or $1 billion a day, that in a war that, by the way, has raised energy prices for not only people in this country, but for everybody around the world. So
That's
that's really
right.
done to make America great again. He's just out of touch. He needs to go out and pick some rock. I'm telling you, pick some hay bales, pick some idiot cubes out there, because the truth is he's out of touch with reality.
Wait, an idiot cube? Is that a hay bale?
That's right. That's a small one.
I've
Yeah,
It's
never
a
heard
small
of that.
one? Huh.
yeah. That's the ones that weigh like 80 pounds. Okay, those are or 100 pounds or whatever they weigh. But they're
Idiot
the ones that
cube.
people normally put leather gloves on and long sleeve shirts and chaps and pick them and stack them, or they have bale pickers that pick them and stack them. But at any rate,
No. Wait,
what I'm
wait.
saying is he shouldn't be riding a bale picker. He should be out there walking alongside a wagon, bucking those bales and, putting the sweat on, and maybe he'd start to understand that life isn't about him living in a little sphere and not listening to anybody but his own little echo chamber. I mean, it's sad. I mean, it really is sad that these guys, think Congress is a nuisance and make excuses and look for loopholes every time when you have a war of choice that they dove into 60 days ago.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, he was pretty combative on the Hill the last couple of days,
Was
for
so
sure.
disrespectful. He was
Yeah, so
so they're all those cabinet people, they're just so disrespectful, and so why that I think that's particularly why that inquiry made by Dana Bash to Jamie Raskin the other day about, "Don't you think that,
right.
y'all need to tone down the rhetoric on the Democrat side and you yourself, Congressman?" And I'm like, have you guys even seen how rude they are even in the, quote, "professional setting"? They don't answer questions, they're intentionally evasive, and they're just flat out rude. So I'm not I just I don't really think anybody needs to be dialing down anything at this point. I think look what just happened with the DHS funding bill, right? The
Right.
Democrats stood their ground on this and they really, really forced this issue. And I mean, I kind of think we're at that point where people have to stand strong in their beliefs and in their principles. And when it comes to this war, Trump by default gets kind of like a grace period to withdraw troops where he doesn't really need any, authorization to pull them out. But I do think this is where, Congress needs to really flex its muscle. The problem is, isn't everybody just piecing out from DC right now? Aren't they
They're
all leaving or
gone.
did they all leave? So it's like,
They're
that's the
gone.
other thing that kind of pisses me off at the same time, though. Like when Trump declared a proposed, an intentional genocide of Iran a couple of weeks ago. I can't believe it was only a couple of weeks ago, by the way, which is just mind boggling to me. Like, if that wasn't enough to spur you to get back to DC if you weren't elected, I don't know what else you needed. And then now with the expiration of the 60 days being today, I would have stayed. Even if none of my colleagues, I would have stayed and been like, I'm here to do my job to hold, the executive branch responsible and accountable
Right.
for what they are doing to the American people, not just my constituents, but they're not. So I'm kind of like womp womp. Like thanks for
Yeah.
nothing, you know?
But
So,
yeah.
so Katie, you've interviewed public officials before, right? In your
Yeah,
previous,
lots.
maybe this one, lots and lots. Have you ever had a public official? I don't care if it's a county commissioner or the president of the United States or anybody in between. When you ask them a question, look at you and say, "No, you're stupid. That's a stupid question. That's stupid." I have never seen anybody do that and get away with it, by the way. And it seems like the reporters then go, "Oh my God, I might be stupid, so I'm not going to continue to ask this
Oh,
question." When in fact, he has done a pivot out of the question because he knows he can't answer it or doesn't want to answer it, one or the other. It's the damnedest thing. And by the way, he treats Congress the same way, and the
Yep.
Republicans in Congress tend to just sit there and take it. They get beat like a, I don't know, I'd say like a,
Come on, let's hear it.
I'm
I
gonna
wanna
say,
hear it.
right? But they do. They're like beaten whatever, you know. They just sit there and oh, okay, that's all right, Mr. President. You can totally ignore us. That's okay. You can put people up who are totally unqualified for a cabinet. We'll confirm them. You know, it's just so ridiculous up and down the line. I
Yeah.
want to know, Katie, what would you do if
Oh, what would you
who it
do?
is.
Yeah.
You ask the question, and they say, Katie Phang, you're just a bad reporter. You stupid son of a bitch.
Um,
You shouldn't be a reporter. You shouldn't be working for, you know, Katie Phang Incorporated with some letters behind it. You shouldn't be doing that. You're just a horrible reporter. And the company you work for should be bought by Ellison because they're the only ones that listen to it.
Yeah. I
what
I
would
would
you
I
say, Katie?
I would not respond the way that mainstream legacy media reporters have been responding. I would immediately diffuse it by saying, "I'm not stupid, and it's pretty obvious you were trying to avoid answering this question, and it's a question that needs to be answered. And if it ends up being a back and forth, that's fine, because I don't mind." And you know what really upsets me is I've said this time and time again. I don't know why when they try to cut off a reporter who's trying to get a good question answered, that a colleague from another outlet
Right.
doesn't step up and say, "Mr. President, my colleague, Katie Phang, just asked you a question that I think is a good one and that the American people need answered. Can you answer the question?" And then, if you go down the line, part of the problem I have is, and it dovetails with the White House Correspondents' Dinner, et cetera, is no one is stepping up to defend the female reporters. And
Mhm.
and look, I'm a big girl and I could take care of myself, but there would be something nice to even see at least a male reporter step up and say something, number 1. And number 2, the access journalism is too much of a siren song for these legacy media journalists and reporters to basically hold truth to power because they are not delivering news. They are parroting propaganda and they were repeating lies, and then we're all left to fact check it separately. That's not news.
You,
And
you
so,
know,
you should really take the oxygen out of that room. Don't Why did everybody have to race to the White House on Saturday night to go to the press briefing room to hear just absurdity? Now, look, I will say I'm grateful that there was at least a camera there because within 2 minutes, that asshole was talking about that $400 million ballroom, which just goes to show it had nothing to do with an alleged assassination attempt, whatever. That guy just wants his panic room, as I am calling it, because when January 2029 rolls around, if y'all think he's going to remove himself, you people are fools. He is not. He is not gonna remove
Gonna be
himself.
in that
He's gonna be
ballroom
in that
bunker.
bunker. He's gonna be in that bunker is what he's gonna do. And so I think that there's so much that's going on right now that him mistreating people is the least of it, and yet there should be some coordination, and yet everybody is just breathlessly reporting about how they had to dive on our table, and I'm like, "Hey, somebody tell my 5th grader why she has to do active shooter drills every couple of weeks in her public school in a state that allows constitutional carry with no training, licensing, or experience to be able to own and use a gun." But yeah, go ahead and breathlessly report about diving under the table. I don't have a problem with people being scared. I think they were legitimately terrified, even though if anybody's been to the Washington Hilton, that thing happened a few floors above where this dinner was taking place. But I do have a problem with the fact that there's no real time anything happening with this guy and with other people and even with Hegseth, right? And the fact that we like elevate somebody who actually asks a challenging question like it's some gold star moment, it's kind of irritating. And so
Right.
I'm over it. I'm real honestly
This
I'm
was
over
the
it.
White House press corps, and I agree with you. I mean, I remember distinctly when Jim Acosta was being berated in the first term and, Peter Alexander stood up and defended him. But where was that kind of bravery when he called the female reporter piggy?
It did.
Or, the low IQ. I mean, it's just yeah, I totally agree with you, Katie. You guys, we've been talking for almost 15 minutes. We're not even through our first headline, and we have to talk about the lawsuit against the DOJ. So I do wanna get to that. But yes, Iran is threatening new painful retaliation today. The president's being briefed on options to launch new strikes. The strait's still closed, and oh yeah, gas prices are at a 4-year high here in the US. But the biggest
but guess what?
what?
Everything fine. The Strait of Hormuz doesn't have any effect on anybody in this
We
country.
don't use it. I heard
Sure,
we don't even use it.
it's fine.
Ooh, it's closed. Yay, party, it's closed. He's so excited it's closed. Pete Hegseth can't even answer a question from Ro Khanna on the price of one missile. One missile that was used to kill all those Iranian schoolgirls. Can't even answer that question, but wants 25 billion, thinking that's going to be enough when it costs us 1 to 2 billion a day to do this war. And now they want 1.5 trillion for an additional Pentagon budget. I mean, it's just 400 million for a ballroom. And now Lindsey Graham says that the American taxpayers have to foot the bill. And then the money that has been raised from anonymous private donors, Trump gets to keep.
Did
$10 billion
Lindsey
IRS lawsuit. This
back
is all grift. It's just
back
grift in real life, in real time,
back
you know?
back me up here. Did Lindsey Graham I missed that one. He actually said that we need to not put this war on the credit card, that we need to pay for it? He
No,
said
he
that?
said we need to pay for
No.
the ballroom.
Ballroom.
Oh, not the war. Of course not. Don't pay for
Oh,
the
yeah,
war.
but a $400
Pay for
million
pay
ballroom we have to
pay
pay.
pay for the goddamn ballroom so we can act like we're Russia. Great, great.
But
All
aren't
right.
we pay but
I
don't
didn't
we
I
pay
think if
but aren't we
Lindsay
paying for
said
the war, though? Aren't we
if
paying for the war
Lindsay
as taxpayers?
if
Yeah.
Lindsay said we need to pay for the war, that might be one of the things Lindsay said in the last year and a half that I actually agree with. The truth is that we shouldn't be putting this on the credit card. We shouldn't be putting the ballroom on the credit card. In fact, we shouldn't be building the damn ballroom. But we shouldn't be doing all this stuff on the credit card because this guy's spending money like he's got it, like he did in private sector, like he ran businesses into bankruptcy. And where is that conservative Republican Party at? Where are
Where's that
those folks at with
fiscal
fiscal
responsibility?
responsibility? Maybe they're into physical responsibility now. I don't know, but no fiscal
Have you
responsibility.
seen their pull-ups? I don't know.
That's good. They're pretty weak. Are they pull-ups or chin-ups, or they've got, like, 3 different names. We do them like this. We do them like this. Yeah.
Okay, guys, here's the big moment. Here's the big WTF moment. There you go. Uh, 8647 spelled out in well, I guess some
Those
are
are not even
seashells.
seashells, by the
Well,
way.
the
That looks
first
like seashells on the 8 and then just, like, maybe some rocks on the 6 and 47, I guess. I don't even look they don't really
yeah,
look like, all
maybe the
seashell.
6 is like those dark black seashells, but yeah, the 47 definitely looks like, I don't know, stones, but,
Mm.
here you go. This is what will get you a felony indictment from the Justice Department. Katie, acting AG Todd Blanche says that this investigation into this photo posted has been going on for the last 8 to 9 months, and that uh, that they took this as a legitimate threat from former FBI Director James Comey to kill the president of the United States.
And then Todd Blanche said yesterday, "No, we don't prosecute all 8647 posts or messages."
Yeah,
And we
it's
also
funny.
don't prosecute 8646 when Matt
Right.
Gaetz and Jack Posobiec and other MAGA and Republicans posted it about Joe Biden. We don't prosecute Trump when he posts a video of Joe Biden hogtied, a picture of Joe Biden hogtied in the back of a truck. Why? Because A, we have the First Amendment, and B, if you look at the language of the statute, it has to be the recipient has to have a reasonable belief that this is a serious, serious intent to be able to kill the president of the United States. And the fact that they don't have that evidence, but they still brought this anyway, is the reason why everybody, either not on the record, but on background, and that people that used to work in the FBI and the DOJ are saying this is the dumbest prosecution they have seen. And yet it's a Blanche special, right? Because I don't think this would have happened under Bondi. I hate to give that lady any credit,
Mm.
but I do think this is most seriously a Blanche, let me audition for the top job kind of thing that he's pulled off.
Think he's gonna get it?
I think he's well on his way. I think he was problematic before, but now I feel like he's just, burning the world down, like, and doesn't have a problem because it's what Trump wants. I'd be on the lookout for another indictment out of the Eastern District of Virginia now as well against Comey,
Mhm.
for the false statements, that bullshit one too. I'd expect to see that one coming up next. I think he may get it. I really do. I've always said the thing about Todd Blanche that made him more appealing than Pammy Joe is number one, he doesn't have a vagina because Trump clearly has issues with female
Yeah.
leaders and women in general. But number two, Blanche is kind of battle tested, is the adjective I used. He's been to trial, albeit he lost miserably, him and Emil Bovee. And that's how Trump got the 34 felony convictions from the New York criminal trial. But he's kind of battle tested. He did all that stuff down in Florida in front of Aileen Cannon for the classified documents Espionage Act case, too. He also did the January 6th case. I mean, he's kind of been on the front lines for Trump in that regard. So I kind of feel like that's the reason why he really is in good standing to get this permanent position.
I just like, I worked in restaurants all through high school and college. I'm very familiar with the term 86. It means, like, remove it from the options. Get like, it's no longer available.
Yeah.
I have never heard, I mean, if I don't know. Senator,
What I think is that, this is how naive I am, okay? I'm sorry, but 86 was the year I was 30 years old, 29 actually, and I bought a four-wheel drive, three-quarter ton pickup that I still have, a Chevrolet, with a
Nice.
four-speed 350, and that was 86. It's my old 86.
Mm.
I see seashells in the store, I think 47, that's kinda my brother's age, when they were born, but the truth is that 86 is my old pickup. Yeah, Katie Phang, you come to Montana, I'll let you drive my 86, okay?
Hell yeah. Is it stick shift? Stick shift?
It's just 4
oh, it
speeds.
better be.
When I bought
Uh,
that when I bought that pickup, honest to God truth, it's the first four-wheel drive we ever had on this place, and I thought I had made it. I thought they life doesn't get any better than this. It has a chrome shifter on it, right from the factory, and I've butchered more beef and hauled more beef in that pickup than that's on its 3rd engine. It is a great, great 86, okay? That's what it is.
that is so fun. So you never worked in a restaurant, did you, Senator?
Now, my son was a waiter for a good number of years, but I never had that opportunity to try to deal with people in a restaurant. I had to deal with them electorally, which,
Yeah.
by the way, Congress doesn't even do that anymore, but, hey, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing is just, even Tom Tillis was like, "I searched to the ends of the internet, basically. I never saw anything that said this is a legitimate way to threaten somebody's life." Like,
He
it's
if Tillis punched at 86, what would come up is a picture of my pickup, okay?
Well,
oh, yeah.
well, here's the thing too. So, um, as a prosecutor, when you would prosecute an assault crime, the only way you'd be able to prosecute an assault crime is there has to be a reasonable fear of imminent harm. And there's two critical words there. It's reasonable fear and imminent harm. Reasonable and imminent. This is not reasonable in any capacity. And it's not imminent. If it was so imminent, why did they let this man remain free out in the streets to go and kill the president of the United States for the last 11 months? If
Here's
it
here's
really was such a credible fear that this man was going to kill the president, wouldn't you have actually taken faster action? The FBI interviewed James Comey in May because of this IG post and did nothing with it until now. And here's my conspiracy theory to digest today. It's all about the ballroom. Okay, because the timing of it coming right after Saturday with the weird, mysterious, suspicious shit that went down on Saturday, the fact that they immediately talked about the ballroom on MAGA, social media, the
Mm,
posts, the fact that Trump talked about the ballroom at the press conference right after he left the Hilton, the fact that Blanche the next day had the DOJ send a letter to the National Historic Trust for the lawsuit that's blocking that, saying you take it down or else, threatening the plaintiff, the fact that Blanche then filed some crazy ass motion that was clearly written by Donald Trump, and he filed that
yes.
in that case that was nutty. And the fact that we now have Lindsey Graham with Katie Britt and Eric Schmidt introducing that crazy legislation for the money, and the fact that we now have James Comey indicted for threatening to kill the president, it all has to do with the ballroom. But it's not the ballroom, folks. It's the bunker. Okay, I'm done. Sorry.
No, I like it. I mean, it's so you're so right, and when he got up right afterward and said, "Well, I don't wanna say this. I don't even wanna say this, but if we had the ballroom," the White House Correspondents Association would not use that ballroom because it's an independent entity from the White House. They don't want the White House deciding who gets to go to the dinner.
You
So,
don't, Marisa, you just don't understand. The president of the United States uh, decides everything. I didn't know if you knew that or not, but
He's a king. We have a king.
yeah, that's right,
they
2
decide
kings.
everything.
He was there the other day.
They decide whether they're having the correspondence dinner. They decide if they're going to the correspondence dinner. They decide where the correspondence dinner is going to have. But I have a question for Katie Phang.
Yes,
This is
sir.
Comey. Comey probably has some resources and he lives back there. What if the Department of Justice did this to somebody who lived in New Mexico and they had to travel back there? And I mean, they could literally break people financially just because of stupid, and I mean with capital S, stupid, um, you know, drummed up potential problems, which is just crazy. I mean, when you weaponize the DOJ and it's against Comey, and I'm sitting here in Montana going, wow, Comey, he can get in his car and drive because I think he lives in Virginia or Maryland or somewhere close, maybe DC.
Yeah, but this was filed in North Carolina because I assume that's where the picture was
Is
taken.
that
It
is
was.
that where the court convened was in North Carolina then? So he
Yeah,
had to go to
the grand jury was in North Carolina. He'll have to go to North Carolina to defend himself in this indictment, which
yeah,
he did. He turned himself in. So yeah. Yeah.
but it's crazy when you weaponize the DOJ, you can literally break whoever you want, in the country because put them through frivolous lawsuits. By the way, where are the Republicans on that? On the frivolous lawsuits, I heard for 30 years about frivolous lawsuits from Republicans, and now they're silent. I mean, it's just crazy. It's
I
not
mean,
not the Republican Party that I grew up with. I'll tell you that. Totally
Well,
different.
the process is the point, right? It's they know it's not gonna result in a successful prosecution of
Right.
James Comey. The punishment is the process, right? And that's the reason why they're doing this. I mean, ironically, Trump understands the process of litigation because he's so active and he's such a vexatious litigant, as we call it in the law, somebody who's just constantly running to court. And because of that, he understands that it does exact a cost, both financially and emotionally, even if he doesn't want to admit it. But that's also part of the reason why that lawsuit in here in Florida on the IRS disclosures, why I posted on my YouTube channel an episode yesterday that went into detail about the federal judge down here. She's brilliant and she's calling them out on the mat for what she thinks is potential collusion between Trump, his sons, and his organization, Trump Organization LLC, and the Trump DOJ, the Trump IRS, and Trump Treasury Department. Because she's like, I don't understand how you guys are actually antagonistic to each other if you pretty much at the Trump IRS have to do whatever the hell he
right.
tells you to do. And so she's actually ordered not only the parties to file legal memoranda on whether or not she even has jurisdiction to hear this case and not throw it out. And then she appointed 3 separate law firms on her own to actually prepare a legal memoranda to pretty much show that they don't have a controversy, which is legally required for that case to survive. The point is, he either, lets Michael Flynn get another payout. He lets people get, pardoned and then sue like the Proud Boys or the estate of Ashley Babbitt's family being able to sue and get $5 million for her
Mhm.
felonious conduct on January 6th. I mean, he, to his credits, has figured out a way of not only weaponizing the DOJ, but he's figured out a way of weaponizing the judicial system to his advantage and to the advantage of his friends, his family, and his, cronies and his lackeys. And so that's the reason why I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, this guy knows this system. He's been indicted 4 times. He knows the criminal system. And he also sees what you can do with the civil system. I mean, he's not dumb when it comes to the legal stuff at all.
Yeah, and he's making money off of it, trying to.
Boatloads.
Okay, I would love to talk about Louisiana and the redistricting in the Supreme Court because wow, there's a lot there. But Katie, you are short on time with us today, even though I think we could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours. I want to talk about this lawsuit. You are suing the Department of Justice for not complying with that law signed late last year that requires the DOJ to fully release files and documents related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. I mean, that was supposed to happen on December 19th. So walk us through this. Like, at what point did you say, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to say the F word. Fuck it. I'm going to file a
Phooey.
lawsuit.
Phooey it.
Ooey.
Fudge it.
Oh, John is like, you're blushing for me.
I
Sorry, sorry, Senator.
I think you need to you need to back up. I mean, I've gone woke. I've gone snowflake. Go ahead.
All right, Katie. What was the moment? What was the moment for you? We're like, I'm gonna do this. This is it. Enough.
It wasn't just one, it was a cumulative thing, right? It was like every time I would, either stumble over, read something, think of an angle, wanna do some more investigation, part of what I would do is I would go back to the DOJ Epstein Library, as they've called it, on the DOJ's website. Click yes that I am over the age of 18 to enter the database, and then I would try to look for stuff, and I would keep on getting thwarted, right? Like there are things that I want to know more about. But more importantly, there are things that my viewers, my subscribers, my readers, they want to know more, just like me. And
Mhm.
because they have jobs and they either don't have time to go through it, or I don't know, it's not their job to have to do it. There's a reason why I'm the
Yeah.
independent journalist and they're not. I said, this is bullshit. As a lawyer, I was offended. It's the Department of Justice that, in the Epstein Files Transparency Act, is the federal agency that is required to turn over in a publicly searchable, downloadable format all of this information, including photos, videos, etc., right? It's not just pieces of paper. And yet all of that has also been produced in a way that is either impossible to read because it's redacted, or some things were put up that had to deal with Donald Trump, for example, taken off the website and never put back up. There's also 3 million items that Blanche said earlier in the year of 2026 they still hadn't disclosed to the American people. And his excuse is it's either non responsive to the law or it's duplicative. And yet, if anybody has taken some time to even do the slightest dig into the files that have been posted, there are thousands upon thousands of duplicative pieces of paper that have been produced. And
Yeah.
then bizarrely, something is redacted on one page, maybe the name of an email, right? And then on another same damn page, the email address is redacted, but the person's name shows up. There is no rhyme or reason to the redactions. And then they've violated the confidentiality of so many of the victims and survivors, so they botched that as well. I want the entirety of the files redacted only for what the law allows. And I want a special master to stand there in that place, look at the unredacted stuff, have the DOJ explain why that redaction, the proposed redaction, stands, and have that special master say, I'm calling balls and strikes on this one. You're wrong, DOJ, or Katie, they are right. Whatever the special master says, I live and die by. That's fine with me. But asking the DOJ to police itself when it has shown that it has zero credibility and trustworthiness to the American people is absurd. And then me as a journalist asking me to trust that my profession relies upon them accurately, efficiently doing this rollout is also absurd because it damages me as a journalist. And that is the reason why I decided to sue.
And they're focused on seashells.
Yeah, they can't even, they want a seashell indictment of the former FBI director, and it's clearly vindictive against James Comey, just like they illegally fired his daughter, Maureen, right before right before Todd Blanche sat down with Ghislaine Maxwell for 9.5 hours and elicited jack shit nothing. And then they want to do that. They want Kash Patel, who's still looking for Valhalla, to spend 10, 11 months on this investigation with Todd Blanche. And you're going to make me feel like this is an efficient use of federal resources. But you can't. You can't actually redact things properly, or you can't comply with the law. So I'm like, you know what I say, guys? I say this lawsuit is to force lawyers to actually follow the law. Who would have thunk? But that's what we're doing.
So have you approached the folks who voted for the law to release the documents if they had signed an amicus brief? Yeah.
Oh.
So it's interesting. I have obviously the full support of the bipartisan congressmen Khanna and Massey on this lawsuit. I have heard from several members of Congress that are very happy, including some Republicans, to be very clear.
Mhm.
They are
Yeah.
very happy I brought this lawsuit because they also believe that this has been in a state of stagnation. Nothing has been happening on these files. I don't know if you guys noticed, right? Like nothing for months now. Because remember, Todd Blanche announced a few months ago, we're done. Have a nice day. And because the Epstein Files Transparency Act unfortunately doesn't have a enforcement mechanism or teeth to it for the violations, right? I think that's the reason why people were kind of wondering, well, what can be done? And nobody else had stepped up. And so I have fantastic lawyers at the Public Integrity Project. Brendan Ballou, who you guys may have heard of, former federal prosecutor who prosecuted January 6th insurrectionists at the DOJ. He is representing me alongside a great lawyer named Sam Ward Packman. And Brendan also represents Harry Dunn and Daniel Hodges in their lawsuit for the January 6th plaque that was
Yeah.
by law required to go up a long time ago in a specific location. It's since gone up, but not in the location where it's supposed to be. So it's really kind of similar to that lawsuit. My lawsuit is it's forcing a federal agency or department of the government to have to abide by a law that Congress passed.
And if you win and they decide to do nothing, which typically happens, what's the penalty for Blanche or Trump or whoever? Is there a penalty if they don't abide by the law? Do they go to the slammer?
So there's a few things. One, they're going to move to dismiss my lawsuit, so that'll end up having some litigation, but we're fully prepared for them to want to drag their feet on this case in general, so we're strategically planning certain things to deal with that. But number 2, I can get contempt. This is a civil lawsuit that's been brought in federal court, and here's one of the best parts. The assigned judge is a judge by the name of Emmett Sullivan. He's one of the senior judges on the bench. He's been there a long time. He's also one of the judges who doesn't humor he doesn't find bullshit to be humorous at all. And so he is most certainly going to hold their feet to the fire not only on procedure but on the law. He has no problem ruling against this Trump administration. He did it in Trump term 1.0. I mean, he doesn't have a problem doing it. And so he also is the kind of person that believes in the rule of law, which is why I was thrilled that we got him on random assignment. And he'll be the kind of person, if you don't abide by a court order, would be okay with a contempt.
Tracy's in the chat talking about Ellie Leonard and her findings, and I mean, Ellie Leonard has been digging through this and digging through this, and she's been one of the people who's found all these duplicates where things are redacted in one and not in the other, and there are these workarounds to get around the redactions. They weren't even done correctly. But Katie, one of your lines in lawsuit, you said that the department failed to produce documents related to Trump that other sources confirm exist. So I want to unravel that a little bit more with you. What do we know exists related to the president and Jeffrey Epstein? And what do you think might exist that we have no clue about?
So, what we do have publicly available to us reveals Donald Trump's name appears 38,000 times. And that's just from what we have been able to access. I would think it's a reasonable assumption his name appears even more in those that we're not able to access and see. We also know from various media reporting and outlets that there are a number of FBI interviews that were done, notes and witness statements, and we haven't seen all of them. If you look at the Epstein Files Transparency Act, it explicitly did not allow for the withholding of documents and information in that production by the DOJ if it was going to humiliate or publicly embarrass a politician or a person. It was very clear that the drafters of that law knew that that would be one of the reasons why they would try to stop production. And by the way, not just for Trump. I'm talking about everybody in the Epstein elite, which we know are people that are very wealthy and very powerful. And so Yeah, we know that there are 302s, there are FBI witness statements and investigatory notes and stuff that haven't been turned over and no explanation has been provided. And with no due respect to Todd Blanche, I don't trust his explanation for it. I shouldn't be forced to have to do it and trust what that guy has to say because actually by his own admission and by Pam Bondi's own admission, they screwed up the rollout, right? And so if they can't even attest, if you notice, Pam Bondi didn't even say when she was testifying in Congress, she wouldn't acknowledge who was the person that was responsible for the screw ups, right? And I don't know if it's because it was her. I candidly think at the time it was Todd Blanche's deputy AG. That was his role at the time. And I actually think he was handling the day to day on this. So even though my original lawsuit draft had Pam Bondi's name as the defendant, when she got fired, we put in Todd Blanche's name because he is the head of the agency that has violated the law since December 19th, 2025.
Senator?
Well, the only thing I've got to say is that these guys don't pay much attention to the law, and
Obviously.
just kind of the way it is. And I think it's great you filed the suit because I do think it. Maybe we'll have these guys be accountable. Maybe. But my concern is just like Congress, they're going to ignore anything that the judge does. What if the judge makes a ruling? They're going to ignore it. If you have a different view of that, show me, tell me, and show me why. And that doesn't mean that this isn't a good idea. I think it's a good idea because I think we've got to continue to put pressure where we can put pressure to get these folks to release these documents so that the victims can get some sort of closure on this. But the bottom line is that I just, when he got in the presidency for the second time, I thought to myself, well, if the court, well, look, the lady from Wyoming said it. If the institutions hold, things are going to be fine. The institutions haven't held. And then I said to myself, well, the business community is not going to allow this stuff to happen. Well, shit, the business community has been complicit. I mean, it's just unbelievable how they folded and said, do whatever you want, it's okay. Um, and business trade groups have been totally silent on all this stuff. It's been very anti-business, by the way. If Biden would have done this, or Obama would have done this, or Clinton would have done this, they would be up in arms talking about how they were anti-business and going to destroy the economy of this country. When in fact, we're talking about a worldwide recession right now because Trump made a decision to bomb Iran. And the business community is sitting back, and I'm not even hearing a whimper out of them. So the question I have for you, Katie, is in the end, I hope you're successful. In the end, do you think it's going to do any good if you're successful?
Yeah. I mean, if I get everything I want, it most certainly will. But I also am still, call me naive on it. But I'm still a believer in the rule of law. I think it's pretty clear that what we've seen is the last kind of the Alamo. I think for a lot of these things is the court system. There's a reason why everything ends up in the court system. Now, it doesn't always have the right result, like we just saw with SCOTUS when it came to Calais with the redistricting, et cetera, right? We don't always get the right results that I think are there. But in this instance, honestly, there something had to happen. Not only was it materially affecting my ability to do my job, but I also can't be dissuaded by a reasonable, probably logical result, which is I'll get a good, order and they'll wipe their ass with it. That can't dissuade me from moving forward with
No,
it,
no, I agree. I agree
right?
100%. I agree 100% with that. I don't think you want to be dissuaded by it, but I'm going to be surprised. Quite frankly, I will be surprised if, in fact, these guys say, "Oh my God, a judge made a decision. I think we're going to abide by it."
Well, it's the first of its kind. It's the very first lawsuit that's
Yeah.
been brought pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act, and so I think in many ways it'll be a litmus test of
Yeah.
what we can do under this law. When I spoke to Congressman Khanna a couple of days ago after he did the Epstein roundtable with the victims and survivors when King Charles did not meet with them, um, again, he's one of the co-drafters, and he said during my interview with him, "Look, Katie, you are the kind of person." He's like, "We contemplated two different paths of success on this law. because we couldn't get a private cause of action because Republicans refused to sign off on it. And so that's the reason why we couldn't put in private causes of action, because the Republicans are like, well, then everybody's going to sue. So Congressman Khanna said, one would be obstruction of justice. That could be a clear path or an avenue to be able to pursue with them not doing what they're supposed to do pursuant to the Epstein Files Transparency Act. The other one was somebody like me, somebody who was directly harmed by the failure of the DOJ to do its job pursuant to the law, which is give all of the information in its properly redacted form, made publicly available so that I'm able to do what I need to do with it. And so let's see what a court does with it. Again, it's a novel lawsuit, but I'm also somebody who's pretty hardcore about things. I'm also not worried about fighting tooth and nail to make sure that things are done the right way. And like the both of you, I'm a true believer that this experiment of American democracy is far from over. And so this is what we do. This is how we contribute to democracy in the ways that are specific to us. And that is why I've said, you know what, it's the perfect marriage of my job as a trial lawyer and my job as a journalist to be able to bring this lawsuit and to be able to be the plaintiff in this lawsuit.
And I applaud that. Do you have his court date?
Well, not yet. We're waiting for them to respond to the lawsuit, but we're pretty, like I said, we're pretty happy with our judicial assignment. So it'll move
I
fast.
love it.
It's federal
I'm
court.
like, I'm in corner Katie. This is I'm excited to watch this, and I think it's awesome that you are leading the way on this and setting a new precedent. And people do not want this to go away. No matter how many wars they want to start, no matter how many ballrooms they want to build, people do not want this to go away. And it's people like you, Katie, who are going to keep it top of mind.
You know what, Maritza? I want it to go away. I want the facts, and I want it to go
Oh,
away.
yes.
Yeah,
Yes, but
100%.
I'm saying until that happens, we're not gonna sweep this under the rug. This has been swept under the rug for far too long, and we have
Yeah,
let this
it
happen
is.
for far too long. Katie, have you really quickly, I know you have to go. Have you had any threats or like I've heard some, back channel communications with some other people, some other independent journalists that maybe uh getting some threats from the Trump administration about some of the things they're doing. Have you had anything like that happen?
Interestingly, no.
Okay.
And I get a lot of bad shit all day long with everything that I do. All my coverage I do about this administration and MAGA, whatever. But let me tell you something. This is a real Achilles heel for Trump and this administration. Republicans, whether they are old school conservative Republicans or MAGA, either way you want to dice it, they are not upset about this lawsuit. So that is actually, I think, a sign that there is some very, very real exposure there for Trump in these files and because of what's happened with it. And it truly is the walking example of "me think thou doth protest too much." If there's nothing in it that is harmful, then just put it out there and allow people to
Right?
use their critical thinking skills to assess the value of that information, whether it results in criminal prosecutions, criminal investigations, civil litigation, whatever it is, who knows? But in the absence of that information, people are left to openly wonder. But more importantly, now we don't have to just sit and spin on it. There's a law. And that was the best part about this law. No matter how maybe a little bruised this law was kind of getting it to market, at least it's there. So we're going to work with what we have and we're going to force it down their throats and we're going to make as much of it as we can.
Okay, how can we help you? How can this community help you?
Well, first of all, just having conversations about it, it's very important. Just bringing awareness to the Epstein files always and centering it in the public discourse, I think is always important because of everything that we've been talking about, the war, the ballroom, everything, right? And if people are interested in following along with what we're doing with the lawsuit, they can subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be giving updates along the way with very detailed information. And that's Katie Phang News. And then here at Substack, this community has been incredibly supportive and helpful. And if people just want to kind of follow along and help along, that'd be great. I will tell everybody I am actively speaking with other journalists I saw in the chat some other names that were mentioned. I'm speaking to some people about joining this lawsuit and bringing more firepower to this lawsuit because I'm not looking for money in this lawsuit. This is not a monetary lawsuit. There is a claim for fees and costs for my attorneys, but whatever. But like, I'm not looking for money. I'm certainly not retiring on this. I just want the law to be abided by. I want compliance. And it's not like I'm getting these files and nobody else gets them. Let me be very clear. That's not how that works.
I love it. Oh, we're here for it, Katie. We're here
We
for it.
we appreciate the vim and vigor. Okay,
That's how I roll. Y'all know that's how
well,
I am.
I
you
just
know,
wanna, I just want you to come out, I want a multi-day hangout with Katie. I wanna take her to Big Sandy, I wanna take her on the farm, she can drive
I
the
think I think
86er.
that's drive the old 86er. The wasn't that the name of a steak they ate in one of those
I think so,
movies?
an 86-ounce steak, yeah. Yep.
Exactly right. I wanna see her in the U.S. Senate setting up on the floor, or in committee. I would love to have her, put Hegseth in front of her. I mean, yes, I think
Yes.
would be so much fun. It would be
Oh,
prime time C-SPAN. You know what I mean? It'd be
I
good
would
stuff.
appreciate that option. Listen,
And then I would just love to have you go in and then just rip Booker's face off because that just needs,
Booker,
yeah, well, it just needs to happen as a basic tenet.
he's your friend.
I know that's what they do to my friend. You know that.
thank you guys for having me today. I really appreciate
Oh,
it.
we love you, Katie, thank
Hey,
you
Love you
so
good to
much.
guys
have you
too.
on. Thank you for taking time to be with us. Thank
And thanks to everybody who's been hanging out this morning. I
Yeah,
appreciate that too.
for
Thanks,
sure. Happy
everybody.
Friday, everyone. Thanks,
Bye,
guys.
guys.
Oh, man. So, alright, Senator. Whew, man,
I gotta
uh,
tell you, you get it rolling, and it just goes. I mean, I'm telling you, the quickest 45 minutes, ever.
I mean, like, nothing. Yeah, she is I love Katie because she is spicy and fiery and determined, insanely smart, and, oh my god, she's so funny. She makes me laugh every time. Every time I talk to Katie Phang, she makes me, like
She was a hell of a trial attorney, I just gotta tell you.
yeah,
She's pretty good at that stuff.
yeah.
'Cause, she's one of those ones that you look so innocent, and then by the time you get done, you got you got no clothes on. She just ripped them all off and just took you apart, you know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You're done. You're
Just
toast. I would like to see her grill Hegseth. That would actually be pretty fun.
that would be a that would be,
You
that would
know,
be interesting when he said, "All we do is follow the law. That's what we do. We follow the law." Then
I
she
think
could
that
point out to him all the times they didn't follow the law 'cause she's an attorney and she knows that shit.
it was evident this week, right, with the hearings, both from the Senate and the House with Hegseth and General Kane. I mean, more Hegseth than General Kane, but we need to make C-SPAN boring again. Like, the C-SPAN should not be where I go to see my brawls, like
Yeah.
all out brawls. It was crazy to watch all that.
Well,
There
I'm
a lot.
I'm
Go
gonna
ahead.
tell you from my perspective, not asking questions that Congress people ask from the rostrum, regardless of what side of the aisle you're on, is just makes a mockery out of the whole checks and
Yes.
balances. It's just ridiculous. And their supreme leader does it in every press conference, so they think they can do it. And I think they're told to do it, by the way. I think in their prep to go in and talk to Congress about a hearing in banking or armed services or whatever it might be, I think they're told point blank, just pivot and call them assholes and move on. And that's, normally you prepare, you try to get answers to the questions, you try to think of the tough questions that are going to be asked, and you get the answers for them so you don't look like a buffoon. These guys don't mind looking like buffoons because that's what they are.
They bring burn books. They're, like, ready. They're, like, ready to fight. Um, yeah, somebody in the chat, is talking about if we saw Katie testify during the hearings for the Warner Brothers Paramount merger, and, yeah,
Did
she's
you
incredible. She's incredible.
Mhm.
Katie
You
is
saw it?
yeah.
It's good. Okay, cool.
I'll watch anything with Katie Phang because it's always good. We did not talk a lot about I mean, I wanted to ask her about this, like, suicide note that apparently they found with Jeffrey Epstein. We didn't get to talk about that.
Interesting interesting timing on that, yes.
Yeah. But the other thing I wanted to chat with you about before we go is that today is May Day, May 1. And there are a lot of demonstrations happening today. People saying no work, no shopping, no school. It's called May Day Strong. So just wanted to let you all know about that and get that on your radar. Up next week, we have, gosh, it's Friday. Holy cow, in just a few days. We have Jim Messina coming on the show.
Jim Bob.
For people who don't know who Jim Messina is, this is a man who President Obama called Montana and basically played a very big role in getting Obama reelected in 2012. Just a brilliant political strategist. And
I don't
he,
know. I'm not going that. I'm not going that far. Not brilliant. I mean,
no?
he's above average. Above average political.
Oh.
You don't want to build up his ego. God, I mean, it's gonna be tough to live with as it is.
So it's May. We have it's Trish Opitz's birthday this month too.
Oh yeah.
So
Oh,
it's a big month. And
big month.
my mom is gonna be mad if I don't say it's her birthday this month too. So it's my mom's birthday this month too. So it's May. We are into May. Holy cow. So we have Jim Messina coming up. We are working on some details because I heard our friend Mayor Pete is coming to Montana.
Yeah, yeah. She's coming to Montana
And
I hope this is public information to talk about
yeah,
the Montana plan, the plan to make it so corporations aren't people. Fancy that. That's a novel idea. And hopefully we get a chance to interview him in
yeah,
person.
we're trying to do an in-person podcast with Mayor
Yeah,
Pete. I'm sorry, Secretary Pete Buttigieg.
or Mayor Pete. It works either way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
So
all
he'll be
good.
in Butte. I also wanted to just mention, it's good to laugh with Katie. It's these are really hard times right now. And this week has been hard personally for both of us. We've just had some weird stuff going on. I'll let you decide if you wanna tell people, your stuff. I'll say that I'm in St. Louis right now. One of my dear friends, died in a really horrific accident in Nicaragua, while she was vacationing with her family, and so I'm in St. Louis for her service today. And, she had the same her name was Casey, and she had the same fighting spirit that Katie Phang has. Just nothing would deter her. And so I am going to take Katie's energy with me today to her service, because those 2 would have been fast friends. And she actually covered you, Senator. She was there in DC during your first term, and I just learned last night she was there at your watch party the night you won your Senate seat in 2006.
It was the morning after I won. I've never won an election on election night. It's
Well,
always been,
she was there at the party the night before. I assume the next morning too.
but I'm not bitter about that. Okay. At any rate, yeah. How old was she when she got in Iraq?
She's 42. Yeah,
42 years old. Far,
3
far, far too young. And how many kids?
3 kids, yeah.
Yeah,
2
probably
kids.
all preteen.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so we're in St. Louis for that, and yeah,
Good.
it's a hard thing, but I love to hear, like, Katie's fight and her determination because that was my friend Casey. That was absolutely my friend Casey. So I just wanted to take a moment to, talk about her for a moment, and, yeah, it's a weird week, so everyone just take care of each other. You just gotta
Yeah.
take care of each other.
And you got to appreciate people while they're still around. That's for sure, because you never know when the book's going to close. Well, my I've got 2 older brothers, and my middle brother had an accident with some fire and ended up getting burnt. Ended up going to Seattle, the burn hospital. He got out, but not good, and also very painful. Anybody who's been burnt, I mean, if you get a blister on your finger because you touched something that was too hot or too cold, you know how burns hurt, and he's got some pretty good burns on his body. In fact, his neighbor, he was on fire, and his neighbor ripped his clothes off and probably saved his life. So So it's been an interesting week, but he's back home as of last night. I believe he's supposed to get back home last night. So,
Well, here's the deal. Um, we wanna send just so much love to him, to Bob, because he listens to our show regularly.
well,
He's the first to call you right when we're done and say,
only
"Give us real opinion."
only because he likes you. That's all. That's the only reason.
Well, we are sending all of our love to Bob. Casey listened too. Like, those it's one of those things, like, we have just some amazing support from the people in our lives and people we don't know who we haven't met yet, but we're all here together, and we just wanna say thank you. So, next week, we have Jim Messina on. I'm pretty sure it's Tuesday, if I remember right off the top of my head, on May 5th. And, otherwise this weekend, we're getting through. I'm in Missoula, I'm flying home tomorrow, and Jim Acosta is coming to Missoula, and he's speaking at the Williams Dinner, and so I'll be introducing him, there if you are going to that. And otherwise, I think that's it, but we gotta talk about your hat. What All Vets Construction LLC.
It's a business. I hope it's still going. Like I said, these hats end up in a bag, and I hope it's still going. It's down southern part of the state, down in Ashland, and of course, it's a veteran construction business that, like I said, hopefully they're still out there doing good work. Anyway,
All right. So All Vets Construction LLC. Uh, Thank you to everyone for joining us today. We want to thank Katie Phang, the amazing, incredible Katie Phang, for our 100th episode of Grounded. Uh, 100. Can you believe that?
yeah, it seems like five, but Harry, that's okay.
That means
Five,
you're having fun.
yeah. No, it's good.
Oh, 500.
It's good. It's good. No, it's good. It's good. 100. Time flies and you're having fun. We've been doing this for when did we have our first podcast? What month was that?
It was in February. We had our anniversary with Rachel Maddow in February.
Yeah,
So,
Ace of Hutchison, and then I had the anniversary with Rachel, and now Katie Phang turns 100. I mean, hey, she'd look pretty good for
we
being
didn't
100.
turn 100. Our show,
Oh, almost
no.
100. Oh, I'm sorry, you're right.
Yeah, no, like, I just think back to that first, week when you called me and said, "Are we gonna do this or what? Let's get going." And we got
Well,
going.
I'm still waiting for the first million. You know.
Yeah, we are still waiting for the first.
All right, sounds good. Hey,
Okay,
you have a
thank
good
you to
week.
every
I got a tractor calling my name. What?
He's gotta go get on the tractor. Thank you to Katie Phang. Thank you to Pearl Jam for letting us use their music. You can find us here on Substack, YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky. You can email us anytime at groundedpcast@gmail.com, and we'll talk soon.
Tally ho.